Well, good morning, everybody. Sorry for the early morning premiere, I guess I will call it. I'm sure if you've seen your news feed and you follow the case of Lily and Jack Sullivan out of Nova Scotia, and like me, you want to know, where are these babies? Where did they go? For the people that keep saying, oh, they just wandered off. The drugs are just recreational. The whole living in basically what looks like a junkyard is no big deal. Well, this breaks today from the Globe and Mail, and we're going to go through it together. Out of Halifax. This was published 2 hours ago and updated 45 minutes ago. It says the mother, who is Malaya, there she is on the screen with Daniel. And of course, we know we're talking about her children, Jack and Lily. Absolutely gorgeous children. I can't get over their little faces. She complained of intimate partner violence to the police. And every time there's a document drop, my heart comes up in my throat. So Malaya, the missing Nova Scotia children who disappeared, the mother of the missing Nova Scotia children who disappeared more than 8 months ago, told police in the early stages of the investigation that her common law partner had at times been physically violent with her in the home. Newly unsealed court documents show. Is anyone surprised by this? Asking for a friend. I knew something was up with the shambles of a house, the wrench in the door, which is for bears, yet the kids can free range outside. Okay. RCMP major crime investigators asked the children's mother, Malaya, whether her then common law partner, Daniel, was physically abusive. She alleged that he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. Police wrote in an application to request records to help with their investigation into the missing children. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Mr. Martell, Daniel, told police that the former couple yelled at each other when fighting, but there was no physical violence, according to the court documents, and this is his version of their relationship. But he told police they had been recently fighting about money. You know a good way to take care of money problems? You know a good way to do it? It's called get a job. I'm telling you. It's quite a get-rich-quick scheme. You start a job today, you're going to have a paycheck next week. Crazy, but it happens. Daniel denied the account of physical abuse that Malaya gave to police. He said, I did not ever abuse Miss Brooks Murray, he wrote in a text message to the Globe and Mail. He described the allegation as a personal attack that unfairly cast suspicion over him when he's been the only one raising awareness about Jack and Lily. He said, if I remain in the public eye as a monster, the public's choice is guilty until proven innocent, he wrote, adding that neither he nor his family had anything to do with the children's disappearance. Well, we do know there was 3 adults there, Janie, Daniel, Malaya. And they all have very contrasting stories. Okay, the abuse allegation has not been tested in court, and Mr. Martell has not been charged with any offense. Well, you don't want to know my opinion on that, because I think there should be a lot of charges going around. Anywho, The documents show that Malaya told police about the alleged abuse during her 5th statement, almost a week after she broke up with Daniel and moved away with their toddler. The allegations were recently unsealed after a legal application by the Globe and CBC to a Nova Scotia judge to release more information concerning the early stages of the investigation into the children's disappearance. Lily, 6, Jack, 4, were reported missing by their mother and stepfather on the morning of May 2nd. That would be 2025, of course. We're going on 9 months. Wow. Malaya called 911 around 10 a.m. to report that they had wandered away while she and Daniel were sleeping with their toddler at home in the remote hamlet of Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. A massive search led by RCMP turned up few clues. Police have been tight-lipped about the case. However, they recently explained that the large volume of information they've gathered is helping form pictures of what may have taken place. They have declined to share their theories. They shared one with Daniel. They said they believe something happened, I'm going to say it that way for YouTube's sake, on Thursday night, and he's responsible. A lot of weird things were going on Thursday. You know, raking the driveway, turning on a light at midnight to make sure they're asleep. Lily taking the backpack that she only uses for overnight stays. In the early stage of the investigation, RCMP made 12 applications in court under the Missing Persons Act, but those applications were sealed by court order. At the request of the media outlets, RCMP consented to release some information in August, but they redacted significant portions of the affidavits. The Globe and CBC went back to court to argue in favor of lifting more of the redactions, and the RCMP consented to releasing more, but not all of the information in the records. One of the reasons cited by RCMP for maintaining the redactions is the possibility that the investigation could turn criminal and that the release of such information could compromise an investigation. When an investigation is ongoing, it is difficult to know what information, if made public, would compromise future investigative steps. Look, I totally agree with that. While at this stage, we do not have reasonable grounds to believe a crime has been committed, that assessment could change as we move forward with our investigation, wrote RCMP Corporal Charlene Curl in a January 8th affidavit. Corporal Curl said in a document, RCMP continues to explore all avenues that are leveraging technology-based investigative police techniques, which may provide information to support criminality and uncover the whereabouts of the missing children. The newly released information shows that investigators were focused on learning about the home life of Jack and Lily. Now, you go back to the article from Globe and Mail when RCMP said that they're very confident this will be resolved. And there was one quote in there that described, and I'm going to paraphrase, that Jack and Lily were living in a very, I'm going to say, difficult environment. And I think we can all judge a book by its cover on this one, okay? I think we can. The Globe previously reported on their family situation, including alleged coercive control that affected their mother, the parents' financial struggles, as well as admitted drug use by the stepfather, multiple black eyes on the children, and a visit from a provincial child protection social worker to investigate a report of abuse or neglect. They reached out to Malaya for comment. She did not respond to a request for comment, And previously, she has denied involvement in the children's disappearance. This is a lot. This is a lot to take in because every time there's a doc drop, like I said, my heart goes up into my throat. This is horrible. With these babies, there they are. Jack and Lily were exposed to what they more than likely witnessed. And somebody on that property knows. Somebody knows. Whether it be Daniel, Malaya, Jamie, or all three. But you tell me in the comments what you think and how close do you believe the RCMP, with the information they're putting out, how close do you think they are to, in their words, resolving this case? These babies need to be brought home into a safe and loving environment. You guys are the best. I will see you on the next show.